Hello, I am Chantee. This is week 2, content presentation on your social self. Have you ever heard the statement, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? I wish that was true. If I say something to you, will it hurt your feelings? Can words really hurt? Bullies, they hurt people by just saying something to them, belittling the person. What about your self-esteem? Judgment on places, or even your culture? Can that be affected by my words? Maybe my gestures? People respond to their environment in various ways. If you are always attacked by looks or words, then wouldn't it make an effect on your self-esteem? So what about your self-esteem? Self-esteem is an effective component of the self, consisting of a person's positive and negative self-evaluation. How do you feel about yourself right now? Do you think you're good enough? Maybe everyone's doing these big things and you're still stuck here. Are you positive? Are you happy? Are you sad? When we hear things about people, of others that we don't even know, some people that we do know, and someone tells it to us, well, that is a form of word of mouth communication. Our perception on that person or place or object can change instantaneously just because of what you told me about them. Self-esteem and word of mouth communication, also going to be WOMC, can have people make sense of any behavior that surrounds them. So today, I will explain some topics such as self-esteem, word of mouth communication, social media, cultural difference, and how people make sense of behavior. Self-esteem. You see the image? Beauty. When you look in a mirror, what do you see? How do you feel about yourself? Do you see what others see? Do you see what they say about you? Self-esteem. The word esteem comes from the Latin estimare, which means to estimate or appraise. So the term self-esteem thus refers to our positive and negative evaluations of ourselves. So how do you really look at yourself? Let us read this comment. Aren't you supposed to be doing homework now? I quit doing homework. Homework is bad for my self-esteem. It is? Sure. It sends the message that I don't know enough. All the emphasis on right answers make me feel bad when I get them wrong. So instead I'm trying to learn, I'm just concentrating on liking myself the way that I am. Your self-esteem is enhanced by remaining in ignoramus. Please, let's call it informationally impaired. So some people derive a sense of worth from their appearance. Others value physical strength, professional accomplishments, wealth, people skills, or group affiliations. Whatever the source, it is clear that the pursuit of self-worth is an aspect of human motivation that runs deep. So positive feedback on the profiles enhance adolescents' social self-esteem and well-being, whereas negative feedback decrease their self-esteem and well-being. Because our self-esteem about ourselves determines how we socially interact with others. Some people who feel bad about themselves may never talk in public. Maybe they have a stuttering problem. Maybe they have bad teeth. Maybe they don't look up to par. And so now they do not talk around people because they feel uncomfortable or they feel that they will be judged. But if they feel good about themselves, they're going to hold their head up and they're going to talk. Because self-esteem is a big factor amongst ourselves as individuals. However, self-esteem can impact on your self-identity within your culture. The self-concept is also heavily influenced by cultural factors. Word of mouth communication. Shh, what's he telling you, sis? For real? Those type of things. Gossiping. Look at her hair. Girl, did you hear about that burger at McDonald's? It was nasty. So word of mouth. Word of mouth communication is an important marketplace phenomenon by which consumers receive information relating to organizations and their offerings. Word of mouth communication. Negative word of mouth communication is defined as interpersonal communication concerning a marketing organization or product that degenerates the object of the communication. Negative word of mouth communication potentially has more powerful influence on consumer behavior than print resources. Nowadays, of course, we use social media for word of mouth. Back in the day, they used a newspaper that was delivered to their door, and the news was probably a few days old. But everyone knows, if mama say don't go there, you don't go there. That word of mouth actually became powerful. If a person doesn't think much about a persuasive communication, he or she is likely to be persuaded by one of the several low effort mechanisms, which is honestly the peripheral route to persuasion. If I persuade you that the burger I just ate at Sonic, that brunch burger, oh my goodness, is delish, some of you are going to say, I got to try it. And it would not leave your head until you try it. Because communication by word of mouth, communication can be so much more persuasive than the communication that as we see from ourselves. But if we get it from leading authorities, oh my goodness, that's it. We're going to take it. Let's look at those Pepsis. Hold on, let's not look at the Pepsis. Let us look at the girl that's holding the Pepsis. She's got my attention. Whatever she has, I gotta buy. That is what word of mouth communication does, but what happens is it also persuades. So for instance, the viewers of this advertisement might reason that they are likely to enjoy the products that the people also enjoy. Therefore, by developing a more favorable attitude towards the soft drink brand that is the supermodel endorses. Just because she has it, it has to be good. It was persuasion. Look at it. Look at her. Again, assuming that the effective reaction to the supermodel was positive, this process would make attitudes towards the soft drink brand more favorable. Why not get a Pepsi now? Did you see the Pepsi girl? Do you believe we always remember the football teams just by the players? Or sometimes they look at the cheerleaders. Do you know the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? Persuasive. So again, word of mouth definitely can work. It persuades somebody to change their route, to change their beliefs. Social media. Is this still a form of word of mouth? It is, because if you're social. But now, this social media, the word of mouth that went from one person to one person now instantaneously goes to 300 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. Social media. We believe that social self-esteem and well-being are more likely to be affected if the internet is used for communication than for information seeking. We only used to use the internet to find things quicker. Who wanted to read a map? We went to MapQuest. But now, Google Maps reads us. So what happens is we look, Facebook, Twitter. Used to be MySpace. We have Snapchat. You have your LinkedIn. We use these now, not just for information. We try to communicate. In a similar manner, we are concerned about the impressions that we convey through our public behavior, both in person and on Facebook and other social media sites. How do you post? Will you post a picture when you first wake up in the morning? No, who wants to see that? Do you post a picture of when you're eating? No, maybe a plate of your food because it's delish. After all, peer acceptance and interpersonal feedback on the self both important features of friend network sites, are vital predictors of social self-esteem and well-being in adolescence. I really want to say it's just not adolescence. Some of us adults, oh my goodness, we can't stay off of social media. We make sure we post something every 5 minutes, or we're reading somebody else and be like, girl, let me tell you what I saw Johnny do. Did you see that outfit? I gotta get me one of those. We must constantly engage in self-regulation, the processes by which we seek to control or alter our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and urges in order to live an acceptable social life. Just like the picture says, we try to keep up with the Joneses. You know that's not you. But just because they have it, you feel like we gotta focus on it? Come on. Be you. It's okay to be you. But if we don't keep up with the Joneses, maybe we're gonna lose our social status. Because we all want to make good impressions, but we also want others to, in our lives, to have an accurate impression. I understand. Because if I have a pimple on my face, I hate to post that picture. Why not clear it up? Why not put a little Photoshop to it? But am I really being myself? Can I be really honest? I want to look good. But if you see me in person, well, you know that's me. That is social media. This is what's doing to our society. But the sense of behavior. So sense of behavior. Ben's perception theory is simple yet profound. To the extent that internal states are weak or difficult to interpret, people infer what they think or how they feel by observing their own behavior and the situation in which that behavior takes place. Please note, behavior can be your movement, your facial expressions, how you have your body language. Are you standing up? Are you sitting over? Are you smiling? Are you crying? Those right there tell us a lot. Other researchers believe that facial movements spark emotion by producing psychological changes in the brain. You know actors are really good. They think about crying, they make their face like they're about to cry, and boom, they cry. But see, when we look at it, we feel it. We feel like they are really crying. That is a behavioral. I've always been told, girl, your body speaks louder than your words speak. They tell me all the time my face is horrible. Sometimes I see stuff in my face where it reacts before my mouth does. But what does that do? It leads to assumptions. That may not be how I really feel. Maybe that was just something that when I saw it, somebody fell and my eyes was like, oh my gosh, but I really wanted to help them up. But because my face spoke, now I'm judged by my face. Other expressive behaviors, such as body posture, can provide us with sensory feedback and influence the way we feel. When people feel proud, they stand up erect with their shoulder raised, chest expanded, and head held high. When dejected, however, slump over, shoulders drooping, don't have no energy to talk. We blur our words together. But clearly, your emotional state is revealed that we are the way that we carry ourselves. The fundamental assumption that humans spontaneously explain behavioral and social events has led to many insights in the domains of social influence, self-regulation, relationships, and health. The conceptual layer of the folk conceptual theory of explanation showed that explainers have a number of choices to make when explaining behavior. They need to determine whether the behavior in the question is intentional or not. If intentional, whether it explains the reasons, casual history factors, or enabling factors. Culture background. Does your background make a difference? Does your religion? Does your race? Does your gender? The self-concept is also heavily influenced by cultural factors. Look at the multiple ethnic groups. Can I be judged for having a covering and the only thing you see is my eyes? How would it make me feel? The preceding example illustrates two contrasting culture or orientations. One values individualism and the virtues of independence, autonomy, and self-reliance. The other orientation values collectivism, the virtues of interdependence, cooperation, and social harmony. According to Marcus and Connor, culture is made up of the four R's: ideas, institutions, and social interactions that shape how individuals think, feel, and act. In turn, how individuals act influence the ideas, institutions, and social interactions. Our cultural orientation can color the way people perceive, evaluate, and present themselves in relation to others. Look at this picture. These people in other cultures feel hurt because we're dressing up as these people for Halloween, or we're doing it for parties, but are we inviting the culture or making fun of it? How would you feel if someone made fun of your mother? How would you feel if someone made fun of how you dressed? It's not okay. Social class is another cultural factor that can influence the self-concept in Western countries. People with more income, education, and status tend to have more opportunities and exhibit individualism, but expressing their desires, their autonomy, and the pursuit of personal goals. They have more control over their lives, greater personal choice, and more independence and self-focus. In contrast, people with less income, education, and status are more constrained in terms of what they can and cannot do. The low class and high class. Just because I drive a little beat up car that barely moves, I have a car. But you don't look at the type of car I have. Just because I may have a Ford and you have a Beamer, it's a car, it's a car. But in our society, no, if you don't have this, like we said earlier, like the Joneses, got to keep up with them. So overall, here's a quick summary. Social comparison theory is a theory that people evaluate their own abilities and opinions by comparing themselves to others. We seem to compare through social media. We got to lift up to a standard. Word of mouth, we got to change that because we believe what we hear. Behavior. As we begin to evaluate yourself, and you begin to compare and contrast yourself through the eyes of versus yourself, your self-esteem can be challenged, resulting either a positive or negative evaluation for yourself. Word of mouth communication, including others' opinions, impacts your personal decisions. Word of mouth can be very persuasive. What else can be persuasive? Your behavior, yes, I told you my face speaks loud. Your self-esteem can be affected by the word of mouth communication and even behavioral reactions from others. Social media has affected our lives. We post to enhance ourselves, various ways to make ourselves be accepted by our viewers. Some cultural backgrounds make us nervous or prejudge others or even question ourselves. We allow society to depict what is approved, not approved. So let's take time to think over this. So I have a question for you. 1 Samuel 30:6 says, "But David encouraged himself in the Lord, his God." Do you believe that self-encouragement, like David did in 1 Samuel 30:6, can help our self-esteem in today's society? We all need a little bit of encouragement. What about this? Question number 2. Does the way we react and respond on social media really make an impact on our everyday life? Is it really important to be honest on social media, such as not adding pictures with filters and being honest if we disagree with others? Look at the picture at the bottom. Is that really being honest with others? Is this really making an impact? Is it really hurting? Is it important to be honest? You tell me. Thank you.